All right, guys, welcome back to another edition, our third edition of Flyers Checking In with the Philly Sports Guy. We're here at the beautiful R Park Tavern here in Ridley Park, 24 East Sellers Avenue here in Ridley Park. We need to have more of you guys come out here. We got a Flyers game tonight, a big game, a home and home going up against Columbus. We got that. We're going to be talking about that in a little bit. But let's go ahead and get started about how the Flyers did this week. We're going to start it off. The Flyers went this week. They went 1-2, which wasn't so hot. They started off last Tuesday after our show up against the Islanders, and they started with the Islanders, and they lost that game 5-3. They did not bring anything to the start of that game. They went down 3-0 at the beginning of the first period, and they fought all game long to try to get back to them, but only ended up, once they tied it up, they tied it with like 1 minute and 32 seconds left. 50 seconds later, the Islanders scored the goal, the game-winning goal, and then they had an empty net with like 3 seconds left to finalize the game 5-3. I'm going to go over who scored the goals for the Flyers that game. They had TK, Haig, and Couturier. Coots scored the third goal, like I said, with 1 minute and 32 seconds left. But those guys were gassed, and they had to put out like the third and fourth line out there. And like I said, the Islanders came in, and with 50 seconds later, was able to do a rocket past Hart, and they lost that game. Assists that day, I had 2 by Lawton, 2 by Giroux, JVR, and Provy. All got assists in that game. Like I said, that was a big game against the Islanders. The Islanders are ahead of us in the playoff race right now. Right now, as of right this second, they are 1 point ahead of us. They have off tonight. The Flyers, again, they are playing against Columbus Blue Jackets to be able to get, like I said, they got a home and home. Right now, they are tied with Columbus for that last, for the wild card spots. They're actually holding both the wild card spots right now. Whoever wins the game tonight is going to be able to jump over the Islanders and take over that third spot. The Islanders do hold a game in hand on the Flyers, 2 games in hand on the Columbus Blue Jackets. So, anyways, and like the Islanders, since that game, have lost 3 straight. So they played their last good game against the Flyers. Everything after that has been crap on their side. That most recently they lost to Arizona last night, 2-1. Thursday's game was against Florida, the Panthers, and it was the second time they played them within 4 days' time. And we came out swinging on that one. The first game, normally Florida, when we go down to Florida, we don't do so hot. Seems like every time we go down there, we lose 1-2. 1 to the Panthers, 1 to the Tampa Bay. So we went down there this time, and they came out strong. I guess they got yelled at by the coach because they start out these games a little slow, and they came out storming. 3-0 at the end of the first period. By the end of the second period, it was 4-0. They let off the gas a little bit. Florida scored a couple of goals. Next thing you know, they stepped back on the gas. 6-2 was the final score for that. A lot of different goal scorers in this game. We had JVR, Pitlick, Adubi Cabell, Lawton, Coots, and Haig. Haig, 2 goals in 2 games. That's not something you see from him very much. And then assist, 3 by Braun. 3 by Braun. Like I said, you don't even know who this guy Braun is. He's a defenseman. He actually can move the puck. He actually does pretty well and holds off pretty good. He's got a good plus-minus. 2 by JVR, Niskanen and Raffle, and then 1 assist by Giroux. Like I said, it was one of the better games by the Flyers. They don't normally go down together between both the games within 4 days against the Panthers. They beat them 10-3. So that's a lot of goals scored against the Panthers. The Panthers actually know how to score goals. They actually score a lot of goals. They give up a lot of goals. So the Flyers did pretty well on defense to hold them to only 3 goals. While, like I said, the Panthers are really good at letting up goals. 10 goals in 2 games in 4 days. That's actually a lot. That's a lot to talk about there. So that was a good game by the Flyers to be able to get those 2 points. And not the Panthers are on the other division, but they are also fighting for that last wild card spot. So these are things that are always important, getting 2 points. We got 4 points total, and they got no points. So that's always a good thing. So they're fighting against Toronto for that 3rd seed in their spot. And it looks like, as of right this moment, that both of the wild card spots are going to be taken up by the Metropolitan Division, which is the division that the Flyers are in. Saturday, we brought on Tampa Bay, who was on a 9-game winning streak at the time. Well, I tell you, we, again, started off slow. And end of the first period, it was 2-0 Tampa Bay. You know, then they were down 3-0. Then we scored a goal, and then they went down 4-1. You know, and ultimately, we fought back. We got it down to 4-3. You know, I like what the coach did, pulling the goalie with like 5 minutes left to go in the game. They wound up scoring a goal. However, you know, it wasn't able to last. They did score an empty net goal. The game wound up being 5-3. Tampa Bay won their 10th game in a row. And I tell you, it's one of these things. Tampa Bay is one of the better teams in the league. Like I said, it's the second time that they've gone on a 10-game winning streak against the Flyers. So the Flyers doing their thing, you know, again, running into this buzzsaw of Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has been doing well, and they're still only number 2 in their division. They're behind Boston. So Boston has been doing well all this time. So it's Tampa Bay, number 2 spot, and then right now Toronto's holding that 3 spot. And like I said, Florida is trying their best to do whatever they can to get into the wild card. But right now, they are only looking up. Same way Carolina is only looking up at the Flyers and Columbus. So these 4 points against Columbus is going to be a big deal. Who are the goal scorers for the Tampa Bay game? Provorov scored a goal. JVR and Giroux. That you heard a lot of them, a lot over the last couple days. The assist was Coots, Niskanen, Sanheim, Provorov, and TK. I tell you, there's been a lot of points right now scored by JVR and Giroux. Between the both of them, they've scored 17 points over the last 5 games. That's a lot of points between the two of them. You know, and they're both on 5-game point streaks. You know, Giroux has got a 9-game point streak. He's got 3 goals, 6 assists. JVR's got 4 goals and 4 assists. You know, so they are definitely carrying this team, win or lose. I know that, like I said, they went 1-2 over the last 3 games. It's been a little bit harder for them to kind of, you know, they got to get these 2 points, especially against these playoff teams. Losing those 2 points against the Islanders was huge, huge, especially when they tied it up with a minute left. And then all of a sudden, you know, they just had to let up off the gas because they were gassed. They were just exhausted from fighting back, fighting back, fighting back. Takes a lot of energy. Shows that they got some balls and some heart, that they ain't giving up on these games. But I tell you, it's so hard when you got to fight back, fight back, fight back, fight back. You know, it's like you lose all your energy there. If they could just start off at the beginning of these games and actually put up a little bit more effort instead of going down 2 goals and 3 goals each game in the first period, it would be a lot better on the Flyers. Other point leaders from last week. Lawton had 3 points. That's a lot for Lawton. I said Lawton was one of those guys that I thought could possibly be trade bait. You know, that he's got a fairly good contract, and he's somebody who I thought could do something very well on another team. Same thing with like Raffle. I think Michael Raffle could also do something better for another team, and we could look for them because the trade deadline is coming up. However, I don't know that the Flyers are going to be doing much, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Other guys who got 3 points. Braun was another 3-point guy. He got it all against the Panthers, but that's okay. 3 points. He tied with a lot of other guys for 3 points. And Niskanen, I tell you what, I wasn't sure about the Gudas for Niskanen trade with Washington. Gudas has been doing what he does in Washington, taking penalties and giving hits. And Niskanen has actually been pretty well here. He's normally with Provy. He actually gets a lot of assists. He's got a good shot from the point. He's used on the power play, used on the penalty kill. So they got him, and I believe that he's doing a lot better. I feel like he's doing better than Gudas ever did here. Gudas was just a beast. He liked to hit people and do his thing there. Niskanen is definitely a little bit more of a finesse guy, but I like the trade, and so far it's paid dividends for the Flyers up until this point. Coming up this week, I tell you, we definitely have a home and home versus Columbus. That's going to be a big deal. We got to get 4 points out of Columbus. You know, Columbus right now, as I said, they are tied with us. We actually have a game in hand on them right now. So getting those 2 points would be huge. They make them fall down to the second wild card while we would go in and actually push the Islanders into the first wild card spot, and we would hold the number 3 spot in our division. So that's just for this game. Then you got the game on Thursday. If we were to take 4 points and hold them to 1 or 0 points, that would be huge and be able to move forward. Right now, Columbus is on a 5-game losing streak. They have gotten 3 points. They have brought these games to overtime, so it's not like that they're getting 0 points out of this, but 5 games in a row they have lost. They're going to be trying to change that up. The goaltender that they normally have is not playing well lately, or the guys ain't playing well in front of them. So the Flyers should definitely take advantage that they got them at a really good time right now. Like I said, this will be the last time that we see them this year. So we got to take advantage of what we've got. We did win the last game against them 3-2. So, and that was in our home. So we got them home again. It's time. We got to take it to them. Start right away in our barn, and we got to make it happen today. We got to get these points. We need 2 points today, and like I said, getting 2 points over there. Even if we go into overtime and they get 1 point out of that, if we were to get 4 points out of this, it would really be huge for playoff seeding going forward. Out of the last 10 games, the Flyers are 4-3-3 against Columbus. So Columbus has had our number for a little bit. Now, a lot of these games that I'm talking about with the 4-3-3 were against a goalie called Bobrovsky, and he was a really good goaltender. In fact, he was a Vezina Trophy winner for a couple of these games. So he's not there anymore. In fact, we beat him twice over the last couple of games against Florida. So, yeah, so he isn't doing as well as he was at Columbus. Obviously, Florida doesn't have the same type of defense that they have in Columbus. Columbus, however, this season, or the last 5 games at least, have forgotten about defense and puck control. And because of that, they've been losing these games. So the Flyers need to take advantage of this. Like I said, they're on a 5-game losing streak. And right now we're tied for the wild card spot. So, like I said, we're both in the playoffs. If we were to end today, both these teams would be in the playoffs. On Saturday, we face Winnipeg. And I tell you, Winnipeg is not in the playoff picture right now. They have not done very well. However, Winnipeg has got another team that's got the Flyers number. The Flyers, the last time they faced us here at home, we got spanked. We got spanked bad. It was 7-3. It wasn't even close. I mean, and Winnipeg, I don't know why that Winnipeg has got this thing for the Flyers, but we have just not been able to do well against them. And I want to say for the last 10 games that we've played, I think that they've won like 7 of those games. I wasn't able to get that stat. I think, but it's 7-2-1 over their last 10 games against the Flyers. So we definitely need to, again, can't start slow. That's going to be a home game, and it's a 1 o'clock game on Saturday. So one thing I like about that is that the Flyers have done well in daytime games this year. As of right now, all the daytime games, we are undefeated. We have not lost a daytime game so far this season, which is a great thing to have. I tell you, though, I like the fact that we have Winnipeg early because they are in 2 time brackets, so that's going to be like an 11 o'clock in the morning game for them. So the Flyers should definitely take advantage of those types of things, especially because we owe them a little payback. I'm sure, this only happened December 15th, that they beat us 7-3. So Vigneault has got to say, hey, you remember the spanking they gave us? That was a spanking. It's time to go get some payback. We need some retribution for this. So that's what I'm talking about. Next Tuesday, we play San Jose, but I'll talk about them next week. So we'll get on them next week. San Jose is not doing so well. However, they are playing a couple of teams in the Eastern Conference, so hopefully they can get a couple of wins before they face us, before they come to Philadelphia. Monday is the trade deadline. And before I start talking about possible trades, there's been a couple of names that have been in the Flyers, talking about. Patrick, he's coming back. He's been skating with the Flyers. Still has not been cleared to take any contact. But they're going to be moving him down to the Phantoms. so that he can get some actual play time. The moment that he gets cleared, he's going to be able to play some games over there, get some reconditioning, get back into the NHL form, because he's been out for so long now. It's been too, he's going to be slow. So they got to knock that rust off. That's why he's sending him down to the Phantoms. The other guy going down to the Phantoms right now is Gostisbehere. And I tell you, he's been a scratch. And some people have said, oh, he's got to be hurt, that injury's still lingering. I don't know about that. I think that he's been a healthy scratch, and he's just not sure. I think he's in the doghouse. Except the Flyers are very quiet and hush-hush about that. They don't normally say, hey, somebody's in the doghouse. But I believe that he's in the doghouse. I'm not sure. I like to think, and my thought is that Ghost may have seen his last game as a Flyer. I can't guarantee that. They don't pay me enough money to make these decisions. However, there's been a lot of talk. And I know that this is that time of year. The trade, like I said, the trade deadline is happening on Monday. So it's going to be time now, between now and then, to figure out, one, whether he can still skate, whether he can still play the game, because the last game he played was against the Islanders, and I want to blame 3 of those goals on him. Giving up the puck, just not making it happen. It was terrible. It was a horrible game. And like I said, it was just bad, just straight out bad the last time he was there. So, anyways, going down to the Phantoms will be able to get him started and maybe get him moving in the right direction. And who knows? Maybe he's got a contract. He's got 4 years left or 3 years left on his contract. He's at $4.5 million. So it makes the Flyers a little tight on the cap. So and trading him away would be something worthwhile, maybe to a team who needs a defenseman who's got a left-handed shot and actually can move the puck a little bit. Who knows? Florida might be one of those teams that could use a guy like Gostisbehere. Nolan Patrick is another story. I'd love to say that Nolan Patrick's going to come back and play this year for the Flyers. And I think that the Flyers are trying to gauge on whether that's even going to be a possibility or not. Because if the Flyers can use him, the Flyers are able to bring him back up, he would be just like having a trade. However, I can't guarantee that right now. I don't see it. Like I said, the fact that he has not been cleared for contact yet, it makes things a little difficult. They may be sending him down. I was talking to somebody, and they may be sending him down just to clear some cap space, sending him down to the Phantoms. I can't guarantee that type of stuff. And like I said, the cap is not like the NFL cap. It's a much different scenario for the NHL cap. And using those numbers and such, when he was on long-term IR, they were able to push off his number. But now that he's back, they had to waive a guy and be able to move guys around to do that. That's why Frost isn't up here right now, because they have Patrick on there. When they send him down, they might be able to bring Frost back up. I like Frost. When he was here, he was doing some stuff, and I think having him with Giroux and such like that would be really worthwhile to have that happen, to have him come back up for this playoff push. So, I said every week that I am going to be talking about Rick McLeish and why he should be in the Hall of Fame. So I started picking on other guys who are in the Hall of Fame to put him up against. So I'm going to put him right now up against Clark Gillies. Clark Gillies has been on the New York Islanders, and he got into the Hall of Fame in 2002. So here's Clark Gillies' stats. 958 games played. He's got 319 goals, 378 assists for 697 total points. He's got a plus-minus rating of a plus 245 for his career. And he's got 44 game-winning goals over his career. In the playoffs, he's played in 164 playoff games. He scored 47 goals, had 47 assists for a total of 94 points, and had a plus-minus rating of plus 18. In the playoffs, he was a little bit more clutch. He scored 12 game-winning goals in the playoffs. So, over his career, he's got more game-winning goals per playoffs than he does in the regular season. However, those numbers, I feel pale in comparison. Gillies was 14 years in the league, 13 years in the playoffs. So, Rick was in the league for 14 years as well. Played a little bit less game, 846 games. Beat him in goals by 30 goals, had 349 goals. Beat him in assists by over 30 assists, 410 assists. Total 759 points. He's got him by about 63 points in total. The plus-minus rating is only a plus 154 over his career, and he's had 51 game-winning goals. In the playoffs, beats him across the board as well. In 146 games, he's got 54 goals, 53 assists for a total of 107 points. His plus-minus rating in the playoffs is a plus 6, and he's got 9 game-winning goals. So Gillies has got him in a little bit, and I know that these guys were both centers. They both were able to they had different roles. The Islanders, Gillies did win a couple of cups with the Islanders. Rick McLeish won a couple of cups with the Flyers. Rick McLeish was the first 50-goal scorer for the Flyers, and most of the time was the second center behind Bobby Clark. So put all that into the soup, and I think that if Clark Gillies is in, that Rick McLeish should be into the Hall of Fame. Just my opinion. Like I said, every week I'm going to be bringing up another player on why Rick McLeish should be in the Hall of Fame over top of some of these other guys. Like I said, this week was Clark Gillies. He definitely was a much better guy. I think Rick McLeish, if Clark Gillies is in the Hall of Fame and he went in 2002, Rick McLeish should be in the Hall of Fame, and that should happen fairly soon. So, I know that I have a little bit of time because we're going to get ready for Columbus. Because like I said, that game is going to start at 7 o'clock. But I wanted to talk about some of the Flyers of old. And I brought up a team. I'm bringing up this one team this week, and it's going to be the 1980-1981 Philadelphia Flyers. And I tell you, that team just coming off of the 1980 Stanley Cup, where they got robbed by Leon Stickle, not calling that offsides, and who knows what would have happened. The Islanders don't score that goal. Flyers go on to win that game, and then go to a Game 7. We don't know what could have happened. However, that didn't happen. The Islanders picked up their cup for the first time ever, and that was their first of 4 cups in a row. But who was on that team? On the 80-81 team. So, I was surprised to find out who the captain of that team was. You would have assumed that was Bobby Clark. However, Bobby Clark was not the captain of that team. Bobby Clark was actually the assistant coach of that team. As a player, he was the assistant coach. The captain of that team was Mel Bridgman. So, surprise, surprise on that. Mel Bridgman, who wasn't there at Flyer for very long, but while he was here, he definitely was the captain of the 80-81 team. The team was led in points by Bill Barber, second by Rick McLeish. So those are the guys, and Reggie Leach was number 3. Brian Propp was his second year in the league at that time. So like I said, he was number 4 in the league, and then Clark was number 5th. Followed by Ben Wilson. These are going to be names, some of these names you're going to know, some of them you may not. Paul Holmgren was on that team. No wonder they couldn't win a Stanley Cup. I tell you, I'm not a big fan of Paul Holmgren. He could never win a cup under any circumstance. Couldn't win it as a player, couldn't win it as a coach, couldn't win it as a GM, couldn't win it as a president or vice president. Paul Holmgren just doesn't know what it takes to win. So I'm glad that they finally got him out of there. Now the Flyers are clear to win a cup. Like I said, Mel Bridgman, linesman, was also Tim Kerr was on this team. Tom Gorans, Bob Daly, Terry Murray, the coach who said that we're in a choking situation back in 93, 94. He was on this team. He was a defenseman on the team. Flocky Hockey, Ron Flockhart was on this team. Glenn Cochran, Mike Busniak, Jim Watson. Jim Watson, he was on the last years of his time. Jimmy and Joe Watson all throughout the late 70s and into the early 80s. Like I said, Joey had moved on at that point. Jim Watson was left there for a little bit of time. And our goalies were Rick St. Croix and Pete Peters. Pete Peters, I tell you, I know in 1980-81, 1979, 1980. That's when he went on his 35-game unbeaten streak. He's actually got the longest streak ever by any goaltender with points. So Pete Peters holds that record. Everybody else is always looking up at him, and he was a Flyer when he did that. So let's talk about tonight's game. Tonight, we're going to need a big game. I know that Carter Hart's going to be in net. He's the guy who does most of our games at home, and he's got a fantastic record at home. But we have to get started fast against this team. We cannot let this team get ahead of us. Every time that the Flyers seem to let up a lead, and they're chasing goals at the end, it's a lot harder to do. So we need to be able to get ahead of the game and get started fast. I'd like to see them score a goal in the first 5 to 10 minutes, and have them looking up at us, during that time. I tell you what, I have one of the guys here. He's a hockey coach here from Kansas. I won't bring him up because I know he knows a lot about hockey. He doesn't get to come out very much because he's getting his team ready for the playoffs. But I'm going to have come up. Lenny is over here. Like I said, he's the assistant coach with the Camden hockey team. Hey, Lenny, thanks for coming on today. How's your team doing? I heard you guys made it to the playoffs. It was a fight to get in. Tell us a little bit about your team.
This season we started out really well. Going in through our end of December, we were sitting on a 3-14-2 record.
Wow.
So we were nowhere near playoff contention, but with a little bit of luck, we were able to hang around. We got squeaked into the playoffs.
There you go.
On a technicality from last weekend, but
hey, whatever. It's like all those got to play out. So, and who's going to be your opponent for your?
Our opponent will be on Saturday night over at Ice Works in Aspen, PA. Will be against Newman University.
Okay, and where are they seated? I'm assuming that you guys are down in the lower end seat. They're ranked first or second.
They actually finished ahead of us at third. We're coming in at fourth.
Okay.
So it's going to be three versus 4 on that.
And is it a one and done or is it?
This is a one and done series.
Got ya. So how will you attack Newman to be able to move forward?
Luckily, I'm able to attack Newman because their current head coach. I used to work under him for 11 seasons with Penn State University, Brandywine.
Got ya.
So I'm using my upper hand of being on the other side of the puck, and I'm going to kind of use his own attack against them.
There you go. Well, I wish you the best of luck for that. So what do you think about the Flyers? I know that you've been following a little bit. It's been a little bit hard since you've been coaching the team. But give me what you'd like to think about with the Flyers as of right now.
Well, definitely the position that the Flyers are in right now, with the talent they have, especially a lot of these younger guys, they're showing up and down between the minor leagues. The Flyers have a lot of talent going forward, especially with Joel Farabee, who was back down again, and they also have Morgan Frost. Having those two coming up, they definitely have that magic. They're almost like a generational player, like a Crosby or like an Ovechkin. They can change the game on a split of a second. So having them up playing on players with Giroux, Voracek, they're opening up. They're going to open them up. They'll be wide open in the slot, wide open in the corners. They can make these quick passes. The thing is, when you're also having a lot of yours on the back end, especially now with Haig, who's been playing pretty well this year. He was a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, he's actually got, like I said, he got 2 goals last week.
And bringing in the veteran with Justin Braun from San Jose, and then making the trade for Niskanen out of Washington. Niskanen's been around a long time. He's won cups with Pittsburgh.
So you know what?
And he also won a couple of boxing.
Right. So I like guys that won cups because they know what it takes to get there, and you need that type of veteran leadership to be, especially these guys. A lot of these kids haven't been to the playoffs. You're going to need that. I know that Giroux's been there and stuff like that, and Voracek has been there, and they've gotten in the muck and such like that, but they haven't been able to get over the hump too. It's good to have that type of leadership on the team to be able to kind of push them forward. And it makes me wonder, where would the Flyers be if the unfortunate situation with Oscar Lindblom didn't happen? I mean, he was having a career year already, and then like I said, to have that.
Everything happened, but the thing is, that the Flyers were able to kind of rally around him and kind of use it as their momentum going forward into the year.
Right.
And by able to stand up and battle again, using it as their battle cry, they're kind of making a statement in what they're doing even behind the scenes. Every team that they've been playing against, they've been wearing the Oscar strong. They're fighting with them.
Right.
The NHL as a community, it's a giant brotherhood.
Right.
And the hockey family has always been like that. You see that down in the minor leagues. You see the players going through cancer. You see even with Eddie Olczyk with the Chicago Blackhawks when he was battling through cancer. The NHL rallied around him, even though he was a Blackhawk. And a lot of people on the West Coast, especially the St. Louis Blues, they can't stand the Blackhawks. There is a huge rivalry there, but they got it as a family. They're looking out for each other.
That's the same way with like I said, I'm not a Crosby fan. In fact, I hate Sidney Crosby just as much as I hate the Dallas Cowboys. But I tell you, I got to give them respect because he put on the purple 23. You know what I mean? And that's been the rally cry, for Oscar and everything. So I can appreciate that. I wonder how things would have been. How things would have been had he been able to actually play this season. Like I said, he was doing pretty well.
He was doing pretty well, especially towards the end of last year. I think once he found his mojo playing at the NHL level, it's a hard league to stay in. For any given time, you see a lot of these players going back and forth. They have a full-time career in the NHL. It's not easy. There's a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. You have to go through every day to be there. Especially when you look at players who in that rental. Look at Yacht. He's still 48 years old, and he's still playing out points over in the Czech League.
Yeah, and like I said, I know he's over there in the Czech League.
He's still playing. I think the last time I checked, he had over 26 goals, 31 assists.
God bless him.
48 years old.
He don't ever want to stop. He wants to be like Gordie Howe. Gordie Howe played up until he was 60. Yeah, it's like I remember watching that game when he was playing for
Hartford Whalers in the WHA.
Right, exactly. He got that one last game so he could play in 5 different decades. It was one of those cool things to watch. So at 60 years old. But so what do you think? What do you think some of the keys for tonight's game against Columbus to be able to take home 2 points?
Well, the thing is, especially with Columbus going into with a 5-game losing streak, Columbus is hungry. They know what's at stake. So they're going to come out swinging. Philly's got to be prepared. Carter Hart's got to be able to step up and make their saves. Defensively, the Flyers have to keep the pucks to the corners, put it to the wall. It's a lot easier to defend. Do not give anybody from Columbus any time in that slot. You guys got Nick Foligno, who's got a great quick snapshot. He will burn you.
Right. I know, and he likes to burn the Flyers. He's usually a guy who gets a goal or two every time that they play, or a point or two every time that we play against them.
And then you can't worry about on the defensive side of the puck either with Seth Jones. He played in the All-Star game. There's a reason why he's one of our leaders this season.
Right.
He's going to be a guy you have to watch on the back end because he's a puck-moving defenseman, and he won't bring that puck. He won't cross that blue line. You leave him wide open, you're asking for problems.
And I understand that, and I feel like that's. I also feel that one of the keys is that the Flyers. The Wings, they can't be giving up the puck. They keep giving up the puck in their zone.
You cannot have turnover. Any offensive turnover, always bad. They always come back to play.
Every time.
Especially coming out of the defensive end or the neutral zone.
Yes. I mean, I want to say 4 of those goals between the Tampa Bay goals and the Islanders goals were giveaways in the defensive zone that they just can't seem to get the puck out properly. And actually worked to our advantage against Florida. Florida keeps giving up the puck in the defensive zone, and they were getting goals left and right because of that. So that's important stuff. So
my biggest thing, especially coming from the coaching perspective, I always tell my guys, if you do not have a clear pass coming out of defensive zone, I'd rather you take an icing than making that bad giveaway where you're going to go cross ice, somebody picking it off and walking in with a clean shot on goal. That will burn you all the time.
Every time.
I'll take the ice because it gives you guys, it gives players breathing.
Yeah, that's one of the things, you know, getting icings used to be like looked at as a bad thing. It's not as bad anymore, you know what I mean? It's like, they'd rather take the icing than do, like I said, do bad giveaways and things of that nature. That's one of the things that's kind of changed a little bit. So since I want to say the last 3 to 4 years, that icings are probably better than doing some of the.
Well, it also depends too. Over the last 5-6 years, this game has changed so drastically. You're no longer getting that smash mouth hockey that you had back in the late 80s, early 90s, and even 2000s. Like teams like Ottawa, they were always had that speed. Detroit always had that speed. Unfortunately now, since the times have changed, Detroit's missed playoffs 2 years in a row now. Ottawa is on a rebuild.
Right.
They're getting away from that old style hockey. It's all about speed, it's all about conditioning. Basically becoming the 1980 Russians. It was always about that speed, that always quick. You gotta move the puck, you gotta be quick on it.
Right. Gotta move the puck, gotta be fast on your feet, thinking.
And these guys are coming in, they're bigger and stronger.
What do you think is some of so the Flyers power play hasn't been doing so hot. What do you think are some of the things that they would need to do to be kind of tighten that up some? Because I want to say right now they're operating at about 16%, 17%, if that.
Well, the biggest problem, the biggest thing I've always noticed with the Flyers power play, they don't shoot the puck. They always try to make that perfect pitch or look for that perfect shot. You're better off any shot you get, especially down low. Throw it on that. First use the goalie's back foot. That rebound, especially against a butterfly goalie, is going to kick right to the top of the slot. So you get a player like Giroux, Voracek, JVR. Those type of guys are going to be going after the garbage goals. That's an easy goal to score, especially on a power play. You got to get that goalie moving. The longer you play with the puck, the more opportunity you're going to get them. Oh, we can go and pick the puck off. We can take it and go the other way.
See now, I remember power plays in the '80s. You know, and my favorite guy who was on the power play was Tim Kerr, and he'd be in front of the net. He'd be standing there, and you couldn't move him. You know, and he would just be shielding and then doing tips. The Flyers don't even do that type of system. They're on either side of the net.
But the problem is too, the Flyers don't have anybody big enough to go in front of the net as a big body that nobody can move.
JVR isn't that guy?
JVR is not that guy. When he was playing with the Maple Leafs, where he got really a couple of he wasn't that type of guy out front of the net. He was more, you put him in the corner, put him behind the net. He would come in and try to get that shot.
Got it. So that's what you need. You need somebody who's got a little bit more ass to him, kind of. That can just.
When the Flyers played for Chicago in the 2010 Stanley Cup Finals, they had a player named Dustin Baflugan.
Yeah.
He was a defenseman converted to a forward. At that time, he was a big body. You could not move him out from the net.
Isn't he still in Winnipeg?
Right now, he's on a MIA from Winnipeg.
Got you.
They're actually trying to oust his contract because he's been pretty much a no-show all season.
Got you. Huh.
But the Flyers did try that for longer, and for a while it worked. When you get a guy who's 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", out front of that, 240, 250, very few people are going to be able to move him. The Flyers got somebody they can try with Phil Myers. But,
or even Hayes, or Hayes just doesn't have enough ass to him.
Hayes doesn't have enough mass behind him. He doesn't have that aggressiveness. Like you start getting cross-checking, you start trying to move him, he's going to retaliate. He's going to take a bad penalty.
Right.
You have to have somebody who's got a clear-headed mind that you put in front of that that's not going to retaliate. Flyers had that years ago with Knuble.
Right.
Even though Knuble was smaller, he was very hard to get the move off the puck.
Yeah, he had definitely like the leg strength to be able to keep himself in the spot.
You have to have that strength. It takes a lot to get in front of the net, especially when you get guys who can hit 108, 109 miles an hour at the puck. You're getting in front of that, it ain't going to tickle no matter where it hits you.
No, I definitely know that. Hey, and TK knew that too after the other game. I think it was against the Islanders. He blocked 5 shots. He was definitely hurt.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, you come off the ice after a shift, you get all that adrenaline. It's after the game when you're kind of locking yourself down. You're black and blue at the toe. It's not hard. It's not easy to get in front of that net.
So yeah, exactly. Well, Lenny, good luck this week against Newman. Hopefully you come out with a big win. I want to hear about the big win over there, so you guys will be moving on in the playoffs. Like I said, thank you for coming on the show today and talking some Flyers hockey. And like I said, kick some butt against Newman this week. That's it. Anyway, I appreciate it. Thank you. So, as we're going to wrap up tonight, we go against Columbus. Thursday, it's against Columbus. We need some big wins to happen for those two teams. Against these two nights, we want 4 points to take them down and get ourselves. We're going to launch ourselves into the number 3 spot. Like I said, Islanders, once we win tonight, we knock the Islanders into the wild card spot, and the Flyers will be up by 1 point, and we're ahead. We're only looking up on Washington and Pittsburgh. But anyways, tonight we started off, look for a quick start with the Flyers tonight. I think that the Flyers win by 2 goals. I'm going to say it's going to be a 4-2 game tonight up against Columbus. And then next time on Thursday, we're going to beat them. It's going to be an overtime game, and we're going to take them in overtime. I think that they're going to get 1 point out of these 4. So it's going to be 4 points for the Flyers, 1 point for Columbus, and then we're going to have given them 2 more losses to go with the 5 they've already gotten. So anyways, thank you again, everybody, for tuning in to checking in, Flyers checking in with the Philly Sports Guy. Next week, make sure you come out and see me. We got 2 more tickets that we're going to be giving away. We're going to give away 2 tickets right here. And you had to be here to get these 2 tickets. We're going to be giving away 2 more next week. So, and it's for the March 5th game against Carolina. Not only we got lower level tickets, and you're going to be sitting there with me, but we're also going to be giving away scarves for all the guys that come with me on their tickets. They're going to be part of the Philly Sports Guy crew, and anybody who's part of that crew is going to be getting an Irish Heritage scarf for that game. So I want to see a lot of people out here. We're going to be giving away those tickets. Also, this Sunday, I know that we didn't mention it at all, but this Sunday is the Flyers Fight for Wives Fight for Lives Carnival, and you're going to see me out there. I'm going to be all painted up, and I'm going to be taking pictures with everybody. So if you haven't got a chance, bring the kids. Kids under 12 are free. Tickets are $25, and then you get to go to all the different events. It's always been a great thing. I have gone to a lot of these carnivals, and it's been a lot of fun. This year, I'm going to be all painted up, so you get to take a picture with me, or with Gritty, or with your favorite Flyer. They're going to be all around. So, all right, guys, thank you again for everybody coming out to the R Park Tavern tonight. And let's go, Flyers! Yeah, we need some points! Yeah, we're taking them down! Let's go, Flyers!